Okay, hello everyone. This is Glynn, and this is episode number 17 of Seamless Behind the Scenes. And this evening I am joined by my beautiful other half, my wife. This is Michelle, and two great friends who I haven't met in person, but hopefully one day I will. Roz and Fiona, who have been on the show before. And we are going to extend on some topics that have been discussed. So just a quick intro from all of you. That would be great. Mish?
Well, thanks. Talk about that a little bit more and enlighten everyone as to how amazing this project is and what we plan to do with it. So,
awesome. Roz, a little bit of an intro from you.
Hi, I'm Roz. I'm a filmmaker. I reached out to Glynn back in March when I saw her give a talk with Todd about this, and it's incredibly exciting to be here today and we're to put some of the foundations in place and to talk it through and see the vision, because I think now at this time creating stuff and focusing on positivity is so important. So thank you. I'm really excited to be
here. Circle.
What did you say?
A bit of full circle coming around, that where we started, we're coming back 9 months later.
Absolutely, 9 months. Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, first cycle. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm chuckling because do you know how often that happens in life, a 9-month cycle? So hi, and thanks for inviting me back on your show, Glynis. Lovely to meet you, Michelle and Roz again. So I am a natural medicine practitioner of mostly somatic, body-oriented healing arts. So a body psychotherapist, a craniopsychotherapist, a pre and perinatal specialist. So that deals with our whole incoming incarnatory implantation through pregnancy, through birth, through the welcome into the family, and what happens to the family when we come in, and helping those dynamics be smooth and beautiful and abundant and healthy and whole.
Do you know anyone who really does come in whole? Just asking.
It's getting more rare, but yes, actually I do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've assisted on some whole births too. So.
Beautiful. So, wow. Okay, this project came on after Seamless. So this was my second discovery into writing, and it was birthed during the pandemic. So when the pandemic started, I was going to pitch Seamless to a network, and within 2 weeks of the pandemic starting, that meeting was cancelled, and I was devastated. I'm never writing again. I'm just going to do something else and screw all of this. And then I missed it terribly. So things happen, and I started teaching online, which was unexpected. And if you want to hear more about that, please watch my previous interview with Todd, because we go quite into depth about that whole scenario and what happened during teaching and COVID. And suddenly I kept thinking, wow, okay, so I'm having all of these incredible connections with people all over the world, and this is something that people should see and experience, all the craziness, because we're in the exact same predicament in every country. How often does that happen in history, is that everyone is in lockdown worldwide? So
never.
Mhm.
We all felt the same, whether you spoke English or Dutch or German or Hebrew,
Mhm.
or any language. Everyone was going through the same set of emotions.
Almost as if it was planned.
Yeah.
Now, wouldn't that be an interesting coincidence?
And I was lucky to be distracted in some ways. I think when you're distracted, you're running away from your own stuff and you're dealing with everyone else's problems. And I've learned those lessons too afterwards. But we had some really large experiences during COVID.
Oh, yeah, there
Michelle,
wasn't much else to do other than maybe write a script during that time.
yeah,
But,
well, you had,
but it was around the time where I started feeling a bit weird physically. I mean, I didn't understand it at the time, but you know, you were living in a 75 square meter apartment, or I think roughly translated to 800 square feet. I don't know if you know the metrics in Imperial. Anyway, so it's not a very big place, so we're confined to that very small space, not allowed to step foot outside. And I'm losing all of this weight.
so
Like,
everyone's getting
unexpectedly.
fat in lockdown.
Yeah, so everyone seems to be picking up weight because you just, you know, what else can you do other than eat and, you know, walk a few meters down to your bedroom, to the living room kind of thing. So it was that. I could drink, you know, gallons and gallons and gallons of water, and it wasn't enough. And, you know, being tired and fatigued and everything like that. So I think to myself, you know, it really must be this pandemic and the weight this has on everybody psychologically that, you know, just put your big girl panties on and just deal with it, man. You know, come on, just get up and go and get on with it, until I reached a point, and this happened over a period of months, that it reached a point where I couldn't see the TV in front of me. Like everything was just blurry.
So I'd come into the room at night. Michelle likes gaming, and I'd come in and she'd be like this.
Like,
What is wrong with you? Put your
right on top,
glasses
and
on.
I couldn't see, like I couldn't drive, I couldn't, you know, work or do anything, you know, looking in front of a computer. The eyesight was completely gone.
You are so lucky to be alive, Michelle.
Well, it
I
was
mean, well done for making that.
You know, by the time I actually said, okay, maybe there is something wrong with me and I should just go, and, you know, I'm like getting all of these symptoms, and, you know, you go into Google and you're like, okay, that box is ticked, that box is ticked. Okay, maybe we should just rule it out and go and see a doctor. Well,
we
it wasn't.
were scared to go to a doctor.
Yeah, but it was confirmed nonetheless.
Right.
It was confirmed. So this happened all in, you know, around December of 2020. So that was
November was on my birthday.
it was actually the end of November that this diagnosis came to light, and I mean, obviously,
So
you can
she's
imagine
diabetic.
it changed my life completely. I mean, on the day of the diagnosis, going to the doctor's room, I didn't want to get admitted to hospital during that time, obviously, because most people didn't really go out at that time, did they? So we treated it at home, and proceeded to eat all 4 donuts that were sitting in the refrigerator in that one sitting, because I knew, you know what, this is going to be the last day I'm donuts. I'm
They're big.
But I mean, it really did change the trajectory of my life. If I look back,
Yeah.
you know, the choices in food wasn't that great at all. It was, you know, quick and fast and whatever, cheap and cheerful and all of that. And it really forced me to change my lifestyle in a way I never thought was humanly possible. But the journey between the symptoms and navigating this
We had
chronic
to learn
disease, it was
very
a lot.
quickly what being a type 1 was.
Yeah, because I didn't know much about it. I mean, I've heard people over the years, you know, that have to sort of inject themselves with a needle 3 or 4 times a day or before every meal kind of thing, but you never really understand the science behind what diabetes is and what it does to your body, and if you don't look after your body, what it can do in the complications. So you know, and I'm basically like an unqualified expert at this now, you know, like you learn to live it, to understand what is wrong with you so that you can manage it best.
I would say you're highly qualified.
So, So baking that experience, you know, there's elements of truth that exist in
So
the script.
her story is in the script.
Yes. So one of the main characters, and I don't want to give too much away or anything like that, but I mean, there's elements of truth in the script, which makes it so special, is because it's about human experiences and people's stories, and how these stories are told that might help bring awareness, or it'll affect somebody in a positive way, which is really what we want to do. So if I can talk about what is a level 3 film production with native speakers only. So, I mean, the mission is to go beyond the traditional entertainment and an enlightening part of what a film or a show does for a person, you know. So it's really a journey that empowers our audience to create actionable and sustainable projects and businesses, which is what we call a level 3 production. So what does it mean exactly? It's a framework that was created for native speakers only, you know. So it's not an industry standard. It's not a label that you would find in textbooks or online, or, you know, that it's specifically part of the film industry. But so this framework, it's purpose-driven media project that makes a difference. But we are showcasing different businesses that truly do exist, that could be a part of this. We could, you know, so there's a bit of a marketing component, there's the education component, and then there's the entertainment component. So there's those 3 tiers. So I hope I'm explaining it kind of clearly. If you have any questions, just ask. But and also to the viewers, if they have any questions or comments about it, I welcome them to put that in the comment section, and we'll get back to you. But
so is it that somebody would see the show and then they'd see a particular project getting highlighted, and then that project actually exists? It's not just a drama.
not a fiction, because I mean,
yeah.
the story is, I mean, it's fictional, you know, even though I did mention before that there are elements of truth in it. But I think that goes for everything that you watch. You know, there's, you know, the writers that create these shows that we see on TV, there are, in all likelihood, some kind of closeness and experience to those things, or they might know of someone that they create all of this stuff out of. So yeah, so it will be real businesses. It's not limited to a particular industry. It's, as long as it's something that delivers on what the mission is here, you know, which is what we want to try and achieve out of all of it.
And that's great, because it's something that being able to get involved in a project that actually exists, rather than you just watch a show and then maybe if it was about a difficult topic, or so-called difficult topic, then there's a helpline that you can ring, and then the program is think they've done enough, and then so this is
So we unpack this a little bit more. I think we can decide, or we could see what businesses are most appropriate. I mean, we can't have an ice cream company, even though we love ice cream very much, but we can't have an ice cream company being of this thing. So we would have to figure out how, you know, eligible companies that would be best fitted for this project, I guess. But I mean, that's a conversation we can have later down the line, I think, as we unpack what native speakers is about more.
So the script is about 2 teachers teaching English as a second language, which is a job that many people picked up during the pandemic because they were working online. And all you need to teach English online is a 120-hour TEFL certificate, which is the most boring course you can do in bad English.
Bad English.
Bad English.
English that you wouldn't ordinarily speak.
Shakespearean English.
Yeah.
Heavens above.
For offend.
Yes, right. How doth thy offend me? Yes.
And the other criteria is that you have to be a native English speaker. So those are the 2 things you need to start having interviews.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to be a teacher who's taught in school, or we don't have children. You don't even have to have children. You can learn the skill. And I'm still teaching English online because financially I need to until these projects kick off. And it's something I enjoy. I've gotten a lot of training on people's lives, and I love the kids that I teach. They're fascinating, wonderful little light beings who bring joy into my world. So this starts off in the pandemic, and it's based on two best friends, and they're learning how to navigate this online world in the pandemic, and their families, and all the illnesses, and all the blockings of different countries and the way people speak English or don't speak English. So you see glimpses of different countries throughout the script, and the intention is to keep this as a global community. There's projects that I've written into it. So the things that we're looking for are things that are sustainable projects, something big that will help ease the pains and pressures on the people of this world, that will be available to everyone. So that's the biggie that we're looking for. Sustainable housing or high-tech housing using good
anything that
materials.
will make a meaningful impact to the
Yeah.
world, you know. So
We've got some animal causes in there. Yeah, Fiona?
Well, I'm just thinking about also living lightly from the earth, taking lightly from the earth.
yes,
You know, in terms of, so for example, using bamboo, for example, you know, that grows so quickly and so fast, and is actually 8,000 times stronger than oak wood, for example. And they found that out because they dropped a ton steel ball on oak wood, and it took 8,000 times less dropping on the oak wood for it to splinter than on the bamboo.
Wow.
so much more durable. I've also seen
Much
things
more
like
durable.
hempcrete, and there's also different types of concrete that has
Yeah.
some bacterial component in it that kind of like repairs itself. I don't know if you've ever read anything up about
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah.
truly remarkable stuff, you know, and it's stuff that can, you know, when you use these kinds of materials, it would mean less maintenance.
Yeah, and it's more friendly to the earth. And then when
Yeah.
the earth reclaims the building, as will happen whenever,
And
there isn't the toxicity on the planet and in the earth that then we have to clean the earth up to, you know, yeah.
in the same
It's
term,
like looking at the whole cycle, isn't it?
be resisted, though. You know, so this is why we got to try and move past this culture of consumerism and keep drawing from the earth. And you know, I suppose if I could call it, be less assholes.
Yeah,
And, you
I
know,
like that.
be good people.
Just the one is enough. Yes, exactly.
You know, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, you know, but anyway,
Yeah.
So there's some awareness projects that have been written in about animals, and there's animal communication that's written in, which I know a lot of this crowd is very familiar with and should be more expressed in the community, because our animals have so much to say and teach us in this world. So that's another one that we've written in. We also I have a huge love of lions, and there's two projects that are in different countries and parts of the world that are beautiful causes with lions. And that's kind of a collective mission that we
There's something about snow leopards as well.
Yes.
in Nepal,
In Nepal.
Right.
That's a beautiful person that we met. His name's Brad, and we can't talk about him because he signed off on being part of the project, and he's got a company called Panji, and Panji works with the snow leopards and educates the community on how to take care of the environment and the snow leopards.
Yeah, and Natalie as well, with the DNA technology that she's created, some groundbreaking stuff, that they are able to trace and track the snow leopards in the wild and all of that. But it's quite groundbreaking. Sorry about that. It's incredible stuff. So So there's obviously gaps, you know, and we've also done that on purpose so that as we go further along into this journey, that there would be interest, you know, to snatch up other parts of it, other parts of the script. As I don't know if you guys have read the script, or
I think Roz
if it
might.
So we haven't read the script. I've read the synopsis.
okay,
Yeah.
presentation, yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
I've read the first half, but
yeah.
then I was focusing on Seamless, so yeah.
Sorry, Roz, we're
I'll go
making
back. I'll go back.
you jump around.
So we don't mean to digress.
No, we do. We've got to go with the flow, and this is where the right things are coming around. Not to say that we won't make Seamless one day, but right
No,
now we
Seamless
have
is
to
happening,
be...
guys. Listen, it's all happening. It's I suppose divine timing and you know the right
Yeah.
opportunity and all of that, and having a bit of a strategy. So anyway, that's
So something important that I realized while these discussions were going on with Seamless is the integrity of working with crew in a different way and in businesses. So those discussions started, and no matter what project that I work on or Roz works on or we all work on as a collective, those things need to be put into place. And the crew needs to be treated better, and people in general need to be treated better, because the magic needs to come into the container and stay in the container and grow so that people feel loved and worthy of being there with their whole hearts, that they don't want to run away. Because we've all been in very harsh experiences within our pasts that have caused us distress. And nobody wants to go back to feeling that way.
Seems like people do it for as long as they can bear it. They do it for as long as they can make it tolerable, keep it tolerable, and then after a while, I mean, like yourself, Glynis, and you just said, I can't do it anymore. I can't. You just reach a point, and also, yeah, with myself as well, and experience of being bullied on a set and not being protected, not having any like framework around that was going to support me within that, to the point that I didn't speak up for about a year about it. And then when I did, the producer was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that happened. I'm so sorry it's taken you so long to tell me, and I hope it wasn't me." And it was like, "No, it wasn't you. Do you want to find out who it was?" And she didn't. She didn't want to explore that at all. So
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
we'll just bury
yeah,
it. Sure.
yeah. And now she doesn't want to work with me because I don't particularly want to work with her now, but she doesn't want to work with me because I spoke up. So
But I think
know.
that's also part of the problem, isn't it? Is like you
Yeah.
get you know unprecedented levels of exploitation, and it's like it doesn't matter who you are. You know, any crew member is susceptible to it, and
Yeah.
you know to what end? And we want to, you know, why can't this be changed? I mean, I've mentioned before that, you know, they in the olden days where things were analog and we converted from analog to digital, and I'm kind of at the age where we've seen that transition, you know, from the 80s and how it developed into the 90s, where I think humans were at their absolute peak, and then it went downhill from there. But we've seen the technology evolve into some magnificent things, you know, like what technology these days can do. It's impossible to talk about on the show. You'd need more time. But they would be more mindful of how they use the film, using, you know, the actual film that you would roll into I don't know what you would call those projectors and that kind of stuff, to digital, where you can just simply keep deleting the footage that you don't like, and then you're looking again and you're 18 hours on a set, and you got to be back on set 6 a.m. the next morning, you know, to do another 18 hours, and you know, not having the correct food, or the conditions are poor, or you
Well,
know,
this feeds into the whole...
it just perpetuates this
system.
kind of exploitation in the system, and it makes it acceptable, you know, and it's just really toxic. And that's something that this film will certainly would like to set a precedent, that it doesn't have to be that way. And in fact, you can create better movies and better art for everyone to see if you have that feeling in the morning that you can't wait to get on set, because it's going to be hard work, yes, that you won't be able to balance and stand yourself in the shower at night because your skin, your skin is burnt and your legs feel like jelly because you've been on your feet for 18 hours, but it's okay because it was fun and you enjoyed it, and then you're happy to do that kind of hours, right? But if you get treated like a subhuman being, or if you are belittled or anything like that, it just creates a negative effect. And I think what leaders don't realize is, what you see and how you treat these people because of your inferior complex, okay, can change the trajectory of someone's life in a way that you cannot even begin to imagine, so you could be someone's mentor, you don't even know it, but you could be someone's mentor that someone looks up to you, or a young person that's intrigued by the industry that joins it, like falling in love for the first time. It's all in, head over feet and everything like that. But and when you get heartbroken, it's raw. But every time it happens, it builds a calluses on your heart, and it makes you a harder person. And then eventually, if it takes hold of you, it just perpetuates all of this negativity in this world. And we just really need to rein it in, guys, and make an example of what needs to happen. Because, I mean, it's a collective effort. It needs to be everyone all in.
I think what you're saying, Michelle, is kind of actually crucial as a baseline, not as a thing to, it should be like that's the starting point, not not the end point.
Yes.
And it's like, what I watch happen, and I'm not familiar with the film profession other than as a receiver, as a user, and I've had a few clients here and there, but it's that sense of, and this goes through other professions too, of, well, when I'm at the top, I can treat people like that to kind of get my own back. It's like that's the model of leadership. So, oh, thank God I'm now the top dog. So now I can, show you who's boss. Well, what if you wanted to lift people up? What if you wanted to do that?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It would make so much of a difference. I mean, I don't know. It's a thing. It's something that's been deeply ingrained into our psyche. Is this rule by fear. And, it's more difficult to control an individual, but if you're looking at groups, and whether it's in the work setting or in a public setting or anything like that, it's easier to control masses of crowds by fear. That's how we respond. It's like written into our psyche, probably from the Stone Ages. I mean, but we can try and change that for the better. It doesn't have to be fighting and violent and confrontational all the time. And I think really there is enough sunshine and happiness for everyone to enjoy. It doesn't have to be like this. So
Definitely.
Roz,
what I'm really interested in exploring is how it would work with, if a film has maybe some dark issues that it's exploring. My film New Earth has got a scenario where a woman is looking for her daughter who's been abducted, and so obviously there's some dark issues and dark places that she has to go to. But I'd really love to explore how a film set can be around that, where people are not getting traumatized by the subject matter, or if things are coming up for them, that they can have that, they can go to a place where they can feel healed and supported and heard. Because I'm sure with actors, when they're playing these roles, they kind of they sit with it in their head, don't they? They live that experience, and afterwards, and afterwards they go off, and that character is still there, like, that trauma is still there. So
sure. And I mean, I think it's also these sorts of things really do happen. These kinds of traumas are experienced by people every day. So it's something that's I think on a film setting would
Film is like a microcosm in every single
Yeah.
set. What you're working on does filter into every single person on the crew. And one of the beautiful things about Seamless is that it's about love. So that was intended to always trigger the crew into love scenarios. Because I've been around it, I've seen it happen. It's not a wonder that when you see everyone in love and you see a whole bunch of sex scenes and you see all of those things, what do you think happens behind the scenes, guys? Let's be logical.
Mhm.
So with any film, and I mean, New Earth is a brilliant script. I think it would be ideal to have people facilitating and let the actors get to know these characters and speak about them, not just jump in, so that they know what they're getting involved in and have a way to take off those layers afterwards. I don't know if there's any modality that would be suited towards that. Any ideas?
Yeah, that's what I was wanting to ask you, Fiona. How would you see this working? I know we haven't really talked about it, so it's like this is like from the baseline, but I mean it's like if somebody is feeling upset, triggered, needs some time and space, how would that work in practice? And how would you work with them?
For me, it starts at the before place. So it starts at the before the beginning. So if the foundations are set in terms of self-care and co-support, and there are certain principles that I put in place when I work with groups that ensure an ether of consciousness of a particular type is as a baseline. So that by the time someone's triggered, it's already too late. But if we put a framework in back here, then the triggering A is different. And B, there's already an ether of someone watching. So it's not that, you know, the person who is triggered and in their pain and they're having an imprint memory come up, which is kind of what goes on actually. And then they have to speak up. They have to be the one to get the support. It's like the support is already in place and the support team are watching for that. And so they go in and they're just aware. They're just aware. And if we create a film set from that ether, it's like having a healthy parent, right? That kind of says, like I've just had a really difficult experience in my own profession, the therapeutic profession, where I kind of had to leave a training. And at the end of this particular training, I was watching it online, and the trainers were pulling out for 20 minutes, I kid you not, tell us how amazing we are. Isn't this amazing? We're doing an amazing training, we're having a lovely multi-layer training, which is so cool and so amazing. And for 20 minutes this went on, right? 20 minutes. And literally, and it started and it was triggered by one of the trainers saying, she named a person on the training and said, perhaps you would read your feedback that you just put on the chat, your lovely feedback that you gave us. Versus a healthy parent that would, right to the last minute, make it about the child, the adult, the whatever, you know. Remember, guys, your families haven't had this experience that you're having. So please be gentle with yourselves. Take care of each other. Remember that your families have had a completely different experience and they've held space for you to be here. So let's be kind with them too. And you kind of help them out of the experience from a place of support. You don't take credit for yourself on any level, shape or form. It has to be about the other 100%. 100%. And there is no compromise to that. So, you know, even getting beyond that consciousness of me versus we and us and you, because if I take care of you, funnily enough, you'll just naturally want to take care of me.
Of course.
you know, because I've been somebody who's helped you feel strong, capable, you know, beautiful, like you can do it, you can make your life happen. And so naturally, and you don't need to do this whole you're amazing thing. It's just a I'm here, you're here, we're here. Isn't this lovely? And it's just like this heartfeltness as a baseline gets set. So by the time, if any triggering happens, it's already happening in a different environment, if that makes sense, a different ether.
No, it does make sense. I think it's also
Yeah.
difficult for people to understand and get to grips with projects that are for the good of all.
Yeah.
But it's quite
Well,
a different concept. I mean, we'd all talk about unity consciousness and doing these co-creation projects. And the truth of the matter is not all energies align in the same container. And the ones that do align are drawn together like magnets.
Mm.
I'm experiencing this on a scale that I didn't even know existed. Like you meet one person and if they align, it's like you just, you know, and it works. And it's a very different feeling. It's effortless. The friendships and
exactly that.
effortless. It's not this, oh, you are so amazing. And I don't need to tell you that because you can feel it when I talk to you.
Exactly.
And we have those moments. I'm present because I want to be there. We're
Exactly that.
together.
We're
And
bringing it in from our divine because you are a divine in form in matter, as am I, as is everyone. And so if I speak from my divine to your divine, it's not rocket science. It's just respect for life. But we've forgotten what that actually is as a verb.
That'd be revolutionary on a film set. That really would.
Well, I'm up for revolutions.
Yeah, let's do it.
I've been taking a couple in my life, you know. Let's go there, you know, really.
yeah, it's the truth part is what people are so scared of. Truthful advertising. I mean, wow. Why not? Why
Right.
tell people what you're doing instead of trying to mind fuck them into buying something? Excuse my
Yeah.
sorry.
So your language is fine. It's an honest expression of what goes on.
Yeah.
Why not
No,
just
should
tell
be if you eat these
what-
crisps, you're getting, yeah, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, you're going to get these health problems and everything. That's truth. That's
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's true. It's a
And that's what we're trying to create. And I'm not going to tell you we're brilliant at this because we're figuring it out. And I'm aligning with people like all of you beautiful women to figure this out together because that's what it's about. If we're going to create this, we're doing this as a team. So that
if we are here in the world, we are here for good. And what if we trusted that? Just that, right? And then, does that mean you're here for good too? Oh my God, it must do, right? Like seriously, oh my goodness.
yeah, I mean, wow, let's wake up happy and want to see the people that we adore and go and play with them every day.
Right,
That is the concept.
right.
Only that, if you're looking at the actual project itself about native speakers only, it's also about, you know, the power of storytelling, you know, of all of these bits and pieces that are in the script. And some people might find it triggering, other people might find it inspiring. And, you know, that's the sort of, you know, the emotions that you want to evoke from your audience. You know, you want them to be engaged in this. And then now imagine you as an entrepreneur, you have this groundbreaking product that you don't quite know how to get onto the radar. This could be one hell of a marketing, you know, debut, if you will, for your products potentially that you could showcase with all of the emotions mixed into it. So this is like truthful advertising because it's a product that really exists out there, right? So it's that. And it's something that can really make an impactful change, and that's what we're looking to do, I guess, with native speakers only. So really excited that this is finally starting to get some traction on and sharing it with the world.
Yeah, let's build a global community. And as we're building these projects and being kinder to the earth, we can communicate with the people who are the real natives in all of these places and get their opinions on how to treat the planet better and hear their stories, because those stories were told around fires and passed down from generation to generation. They aren't from the internet. And
Yeah.
there's beautiful things that we're missing out on because we're so focused on being on our phones or on the computer that we're missing out on the people element, and we've got to find that again.
Did any of you see that? It's a fantastic photographer, and she took photographs of individuals, of couples, of families who were on their phones in different poses. So they were like sitting on the sofa, having their dinner, out walking with a friend, having dinner in a restaurant. The baby was feeding them, but the adults were on their phone. Didn't you see that? And then she took the phone out of the equation, but kept the body posture as if they were still on the phone.
Mm.
Oh my, I've never seen anything so devastating in my life. It's incredible because you just absolutely see the disconnection, and all of it. It's the one thing we all need. It's this social nervous system that the First Nations peoples have.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that, you know, it's a real thing we are up against. So I'm really proud of you for kind of naming it and wanting to do it differently. It's good on you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're nuts.
Amen. I always say amen to the non-neurotypicals. Let's bring it on.
And it's you know it's a different approach, and maybe, you know, I don't know, what else can I say?
At this point,
it might be controversial, but
we're
it's
looking
something.
for people to get involved and what projects should go in. If someone wants to be kind enough to fund some of it to get us going, that we can leave our 3D jobs for a while and focus wholeheartedly on this, that would be the biggest gift. But even if they don't, we're not giving up. We've been at this for 3 years already, just on this project, and we believe in it.
Well, people make films these days with phones, so I don't know. No, but we're not going to go that way.
Yeah.
To see the film.
No. We really want it to be, yeah, exactly. We want to have a whole film crew that are treated equitably and with dignity and make and then you'll actually see it in the results, because I've seen it. You know, I've worked in corporate environments for much of my adult life, so and very little with film. My exposure to film was through Glynn, and you know, there's a lot of similarities that exist in the corporate world as well when it comes to bullying and all of that. It's not only limited to film. I think it's it's in every
it is in every sector. You're absolutely
right. Life. And you know, for the most part, we are all passionate about not starving to death, so we will just drag our asses on to work and, you know, suck it up and get on with it. But you know, for there to be any meaningful change, there needs to be people to stand up and to say, well, hold on a minute, you know what, this is actually not right. And you know, it's not rocket science. You know, it's how the human mind works. And we're not saying we're going to walk on eggshells and, you know, not be, you know, candid with people and all of that. And there was a thing that I read up about Kim Scott, which shouldn't be promoting other people, but I recommend her for self-help as well, where she talks about radical candor, which you can look up, which could be very helpful to people that are struggling with having difficult conversations and frank conversations with co-workers and in your professional world and personal world. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, but look, anything that can help others, and that's what we would like to do here is for everybody to shine. I think life should be treated more as a journey rather than a race. You know, we're all in this race, but our destination's all going to be the same. So it's about doing what you can do and making the most of your journey, you know.
this is something we've created, that we come here and then we've just decided arbitrarily that
Everything
we're
by
going to
design.
go to work. That I mean, or that we're going to go and do a job that we hate, perhaps,
And this,
and
and
we're
this
just
is
going to
all by
just
design.
grin and bear it.
That's
Yeah.
designed this way, you know, and it's
Yeah.
quite honestly, it's not sustainable. And we can see that there's quite a radical shift that is happening, you know, and there's like seemingly a metaphysical feeling of good versus evil at the moment, and there seems to be a bit of a tug of war, and people are like lost and all of that. And unfortunately, history often repeating itself. But I think if there's a collective group of people, they don't necessarily have to be in the same city or in the same room.
They should be.
And I think Native Speakers Only also does touch on that a little bit, is, you know, the power of media. And yes, it can be used for sinister things and horrible things. And I think we are now in the information age. We have, you know, we overstimulated with all of this negativity and bad news, but we could also use it for good and, you know, not be blind to all of the atrocities that's going on out there. You know, we got to recognize it, we got to deal with it, we got to absorb it, and, you know, and do what we can as individuals, what we can. And it starts at home. You know, like I said, be less of an asshole, give everyone a little bit
It's
of
the one I'll do. Yeah.
grow, allow people to flourish and encourage them and change the trajectory of someone's life.
Well, you changed mine. I mean, she's been putting up with these scripts and all of this stuff. You've read every draft of everything, forever.
Yeah, you know, and we can even go down to our interactions with how we interact with animals and how we can train, for example, dogs. I had dogs back in Johannesburg where he was petrified of water. But every day of perseverance and encouragement with food, lots of food, he eventually got into that swimming pool and we couldn't get him out. From being terrified of the water to loving the water. And I think it's the same. So with humans, if we nurture the good side and the good things and, you know, constructively criticize somebody if they are deviating and going a little bit off track and everything, you know, just to snap out of it, dude. You need to pull yourself together sometimes, you know, like, no.
That always works, right? That always works.
Just get some sleep, darling.
I say this with love.
Yeah.
Don't on social media.
No. Just, you know, some sleep is very important.
I don't know if, Roz, you want to speak about how you are raising your daughter in these principles, because you are doing this on a small scale with her, and she is such a beautiful, wise, funny, connected, like she very clear, isn't she? She just looks right through the nonsense and goes right to the heart of it. And she is Roz's daughter, right? So as I keep saying, there's this symbiosis of relationship. And I don't know if, Roz, you want to say something about
Please do.
how you created that, because you are creating a very beautifully aligned human being.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Yes, she is a very beautiful, loving human being, and I don't know. I just listen to her. I just let her be herself. Just give her space to do and be and flourish, and within boundaries. So obviously, yeah, go on that wall, but maybe not on that wall, which is 10 feet up in the air. But go on the lower one and go on the one you feel safe on, and I know you'll be safe. And okay, you might trip over, you might stumble, but you'll get back up, and I'll be there if you need me. So yeah, I think it's her having that awareness that I'm here and I support her. It's support her and being herself.
Yeah, it's very important. The support element, it really does go along.
So it's a relationship of trust.
Yes.
You trust her and you're giving her that message that she's trustworthy. So then that gives her the confidence to go out. And then when she needs to come back in and get a hug, get some resource from you, she can do that. And then she knows it's safe to go out again. So you really are living this thing through your motherhood that you are wanting to birth in this. And that's why I'm naming it, because this is why Roz and Glynis, are kind of like, yeah, okay, you're good people to be doing this because you're doing it like already, right? Living it, creating it.
I had no idea when I met Roz that this was going to happen, that we would be so aligned.
Uh-huh.
It's
Uh-huh.
beautiful when you meet energetically aligned people. It's what you hope for. It's what you set
Right.
out for.
And it should be the way it naturally is.
It's funny, the first time I reached out because the email didn't get through, but thinking about it, I was thinking that I wasn't in a good place then anyway to really have any sort of friendship or that was going to build and become something amazing. I didn't quite have that that structure in place for that to happen. But then 4 months later I did, and that's when the email got through. So yeah, it's amazing. And yeah, it's
been a wild ride.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you've done so well with the show as well, and
thank you.
getting all the guests on and keeping it going. And I know it hasn't been easy all the time. It hasn't been
part of this beautiful this beautiful course correction in my life of these are the people I want to speak to and the people I want to meet. And now I've been given the opportunity to interview them and find out more and learn more from them, because when you talk to people and you get to know them, it's very different to watching them just on camera. And it's a beautiful gift to do this. And sometimes I have no idea how it's going to end up. But most of the people who I've had on the show are either people who have been friends with Michelle and I for a long time, or are becoming fast aligned, and people that are coming on more than once because we're meant to be talking and having these discussions. So they're not flash in the pan kind of energies, which is beautiful.
It's like really taking the time to root in the energy that we are, because then that kind of grows something. We then have it's like, as you said earlier, Glynn, it's like it's effortless because it's who we are. It's not an image we are portraying to be. And that's it. It comes from a very different place, doesn't it? Because one is really exhausting and hard work and just like, oh, I can't, and this whole separation between public life and private life versus I'm just me, and okay, I'll do that and I'll do that. Okay, I might put myself in that place and this place, but I'm still me. There's no difference in how I am privately or publicly.
No,
and I do think to get that safety, that trust of the integrity of the self is
to all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, how could I think that on my journey it was just going to be that I was just going to talk about film? That was silly, and that was what I was just going to talk about. But I'm spiritual and I do all of these different things too. And this is a great place to be able to talk about all of it, all the nitty-gritty. I'm not one thing, and none of us are. So let's stop trying to just pigeonhole ourselves into one different modality or one different lane. Because what are we going to learn if we stay in our lane?
It's like they always say, don't they? Learning happens at the edge of what you don't know.
Yeah.
So if we only stay in what we know, we're never going to grow.
No. And we want to create magic in all different areas. I mean, I get my children online now because I'm so familiar with, I teach about writing structures, even though Roz will tell you that I don't follow them, because I don't. I teach about
That's okay. Listen, I was raised Roman Catholic. I had to have a basis from which I could move away from. Giving a basis is a good thing. Yeah, right? Yes.
You have the rules, then you can break them.
Exactly.
And So now I get them to create these marvelous stories, and I can't wait to make those one day with them because they need to be heard too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's so much to talk about and so much to cover, and this is just the beginning. And if anyone feels like they need to know more or wants to know more, I would love to explain this on a smaller scale to individuals, and I'll put up all my details on the screen just before we end. And there's so many platforms now to contact me on, I can barely figure them out. So please do. And let's continue the discussions and learning from each other so that we can create this global community within Sology and within different film sects, communities. Let's just do it. Let's stop talking about it and just do it.
You know, as I walked out of this training this week, it was like I had this thought, I need to keep my mouth and my feet in the same direction. Because my mouth, you know, to some people who were unaware, could have looked like I was just having a tantrum.
Yeah.
I was just saying, no, this is not okay. Where did this come from? This is nothing to do with the principles. Blah, 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 blah. But I was saying it really strongly here because of the strength of the what was going on. And had I said that but stayed in the room, energetically, I would have been given the message, well, okay, you know, I'll accept what you're doing because I want this training. Blah, 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 blah. No. Put your feet and your mouth in the same line and walk your talk.
Yeah.
It's the only way we grow.
Okay, well, I think we're out of time for our show time.
Well, thank you for having me on your show and for the introduction.
Amazing.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It is an honor to
Yeah.
meet you guys, and I'm really excited about this project and seeing where this heads.
So am I. Thank you for having me too.
So
Thank you
bless you
both.
guys.
So lovely to meet you.
Everything.
Yay. Okay, I'm gonna just put us all on mute so I can put the screen share up.